Mr. Morgan, Minister Morgan, your background, I believe, is one in media. I believe it's based in media. And one of the first things that you should acquaint yourself with is being thorough. You should acquaint yourself with the facts. You shouldn't follow innuendos. You shouldn't follow suppositions. You may think them, but you shouldn't say them. You can use them as tools to get to the truth and nothing but the truth. Now, it was only last year, August, sir, that you reached out to me. And I have it here in my phone. In fact, I have you listed in my phone as Minister Morgan. All right. And I just want to clear up some things that you said that are just untrue, totally untrue. All right. And I did this last night, but it's worth doing again. August 16, 2022, at 10:23, sir, you sent me a message. You said, "Good morning, sir. This is Robert Nesta Morgan." And then you called me because I didn't respond, and you called me. You called me twice. Actually, you called me first at 10:22. Then you sent your messages at 10:23. Then you called me again at 10:54. This all took place on August 16th. It's all recorded here. And eventually, I called you back, and then on the 17th, you said, "Sorry, I missed your call, sir. We'll try another time." And this went on for several days. And eventually we spoke. And what was the purpose of our discussion? You tried to get me to abandon my pursuit of justice for the people of Jamaica against the Honorable Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith. You told me to drop my inquiry. And in fact, we have a mutual acquaintance who gave you my phone number. And you said you got my phone number from that mutual acquaintance. And you said to me, he told me that you're a nice guy, that you're a reasonable guy, and I can talk to you. And after trying to get me to abandon my pursuit of justice against the Honorable Minister, I told you in no uncertain terms that I would not. I said to you, I'm a principled person. I believe that what she did was wrong, and there's no way I can abandon the pursuit. And I think there were several phone calls between us after that. And then after that, you fell off the radar. So that's the background, sir. Let's be clear. First time you and I talked, you tried to get me to drop my case against the Honorable Minister. And at some point in time, because I don't want to take up too much time, we have time, but I'm going to go through the interview you gave to Nationwide Radio and how you clearly misled the public about the whole saga with the minister, Kamina Johnson-Smith. I'm going to expose you to the public. But here are some of the things that, let's just go now. So that's the background. So let's just go to the recent interview that my brethren just played. First thing you said out the box was that I survive on a diet of negativity. A diet of negativity. Sir, as a person in the media, you should learn how to weigh. You should learn how to choose your words carefully, because you are very deficient in that area. Very deficient. I've listened to some of your interviews. I've watched your performance. And they're well below par. Now, when you say I survive on a diet of negativity, sir, let's be clear about something. There are others who, in your view, would present a positive spin on what the government is doing. You'd never hear them say anything bad about the government, and you know who those people are. So if I'm speaking negative about what the government is doing and somebody's speaking positive about what the government is doing, we call that a balance. That's what we call that, sir. That's a balanced approach. Somebody's speaking pure positivity about the government, and I'm speaking negatively about the government. It's a balance. So people can listen to both views and decide who's speaking the truth. That's the first point. The second point is this. The government was elected to do positive things. The government, when they went out, they never said, hey, people, vote for us because we're going to do negative things. That's what we want to do. We want to do negative. They went out and they made promises to the people. That's called a social contract, where it's a transactional relationship. I give you my vote, you provide service delivery. Now, you do not get, and I've said it very often, you do not get a medal for doing what you promised me to do, sir. The government doesn't get a medal. If you say you're going to take unemployment rate to the lowest of the low and you do it, you don't get a medal. I voted for you because you made that promise. Now, if you say, I'm going to take unemployment to 5%, for example, and the next thing, unemployment is 15%, I have a reason to complain because you promised and you failed to deliver on your promise. So you don't talk about positive things about the government unless they're really positive. You also said that I say everything bad about Jamaica and there's nothing good about Jamaica, sir. Might I suggest to you to go back and look at my programs? Because only recently, Dr. Henry Lowe was featured on my program. He's a prominent Jamaican researcher. He got a patent from the US government for his research on prostate cancer. I featured him. It was just recently I featured the debating team that won the World Debate Championship. And I can go on and on. But you don't pay attention to that, sir. And therein lies the problem. So your theory that I never speak anything about Jamaica, you have no argument. Because just one example is enough to puncture your argument. And so that's what I'm saying to you, sir. You need to choose your words carefully. When you use absolutes like never, all, you realize that you've set yourself up for just one example and you're finished. So that's not true. So point to recall. The government does what it's supposed to do, no medals. The government doesn't do what it's supposed to do, yes, we're going to criticize it. And you know why we criticize, sir? I can tell you why I criticize. I criticize because I want the Jamaican government to be the best government it can possibly be. We bring these things to the fore so that they can do what we call a course correction. And when they fail to do a course correction, in spite of the fact that these deficiencies are pointed out, then of course you have to make a public demonstration of their deficiencies. And that's what we've done. You mentioned that the lawsuit against the Honorable Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith was political. I don't know what you mean by that, sir. Because if you're kind enough and you would be willing to take the time out and you look at the documentation, you will see that it's not political, it's factual. She did not report as required the gift of services she received from corporate Jamaica through Fin Partners. Those documents are sitting in America, sir. I have those documents. I have them right here in front of me. I have them right here. I have them right here. They're right here. And these documents clearly state that Fin Partners provided her services that they were paid for by corporate Jamaica. That is a gift. And the Financial Audit and Administrative Act of Jamaica, it says you have to report gifts of money and otherwise. And the otherwise includes consultancy services, which she did receive. So what we're talking about is not something political. I have no political agenda in this, sir. As much as you would try to paint me in a corner, I have no political agenda. I have an agenda to expose the facts to the Jamaican people. And if she is able to do this and get away with it, then surely, in spite of the fact that it's exposed, then surely we don't have justice in Jamaica. We don't. No, the judge made his decision, and I respect his decision. I disagree with his decision. And you say the case is over. Sir, choose your words carefully. The case is not over. The case is on appeal. And even after the Court of Appeal has rendered its decision, there is another step of appeal that either party could utilize. And that's called the Privy Council. So the case is not over, sir. You know better than this. We expect better of you as the official Minister of Information. You're supposed to convey correct information to the public. Then you went on to say that standing, that the judge said, I didn't provide evidence and I didn't have a reason to sue because I wasn't affected. Sir, I suggest you speak to legal counsel before you make statements to the public, because here again, you have failed to convey the correct information. Standing, sir, means interest. It doesn't mean benefit. It means interest. You have an interest in the case. As a Jamaican, I have an interest in making sure that my government lives up to its promise of transparency, accountability, honesty, good governance, and democracy. I expect and I deserve that from my government. That standing equates to interest, not a benefit, not because I'm going to benefit from it. And then if you follow the logical, if you take your argument to the logical conclusion, what you're saying is that no one could ever sue the minister, because guess what? No one lost anything as a result of that. Because she didn't file, no one lost anything. So therefore, no one has standing. Because what you're saying is that you can only do it if it's affecting you. And how do you prove that you're affected by the fact that she didn't file a form? How? Sir, I suggest to you that you go back and you review your material, and I'm kindly asking you to do a retraction. Or you can reach out to me and you can make an apology, because one is due. Now, you say you have a very good relationship, that the government has a very good relationship with the diaspora. How do you define good relationship? And how do you define diaspora? Because if you define a good relation, well, first of all, how do you measure good relationship? Have you done a study? Have you done a survey? Where is that survey? Please provide it to us. And how do you describe a diaspora? If you describe a diaspora by saying we have the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council and the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council, then you have failed to convince anyone that you have a good relationship with the diaspora. Because, sir, let me remind you, there are approximately 6 million of us in the diaspora globally. Only 3,000 people voted in the election. In England, they have 3 representatives. They have approximately 800,000 Jamaicans. About 65 people voted. In fact, one representative received 17 votes. I'll repeat, sir. One representative in England received 17 votes. And I'll also repeat that the diasporan, the number of the diasporans amount to approximately 6 million. That's what we've been told. But let's say it's 3 million. Let's say it's 3 million. A little more than 3,000 people voted. So now you're telling us that 3,000 people created a mandate for 30 people for 3 million people. I hope you follow me, sir. 3,000 people voted for 30 people and gave them a mandate to represent 3 million people. It doesn't work like that, sir. And I am willing to make a bet with you that tonight on this show, we can garner more votes. We can garner more people here than the number of people who voted. Globally, not just in the US, but globally. In the US, in the eastern, the Northeast, uh, uh, um, in the Northeast, for the Northeast rep, the Northeast goes from Maine in the north all the way down to Virginia in the south. And the representative, a dear friend of mine, a sister, I spoke to her tonight. She's saying it's about 500,000 Jamaicans. I've been told by people who have a better sense of the number of the people, and I'm not disparaging her. She's a lovely woman, and she's doing her best. But I've been told by people who know otherwise that there are about 2 million people, 2 million Jamaicans living in from Maine to Virginia. And I believe that number to be closer to the true number. Do you know, sir, how many people voted in that election this year? Less than 100. 2 million people, 100. And do you know why most of people, if you ask people, the ones who were knowledgeable about the process, if you ask them, why is it that you didn't vote? They will tell you, especially in the New York area, they'll tell you that they were completely dissatisfied about several things, but particularly the fact that the Jamaican government took over the diaspora. What do we mean by that? The Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, sir, is headed by the junior minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. 3 of the 4 people representing the council, they are Jamaican officials. I mean, government officials. So how do you explain to the diaspora that, yes, you have a representative body, but it's run by the government of Jamaica? Sir, you have awakened a sleeping giant. You really have. And let me put this message out as clearly as I can to those who would criticize my past. If I've done anything in the past, call the police, call the FBI, call the CIA, call whomever, call anyone, and have me arrested, sir. Because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get government officials in Jamaica arrested. I am trying my very best. And usually when Rattigan tries his best, he's successful. Next thing you said was the letter was malicious and that Rattigan's name is associated with it. Sir, do you know the meaning of malice? Do you know the meaning of the word malicious? I dare say you do not. And so, sir, you need to go back and acquaint yourself with a dictionary, maybe Webster's dictionary, and choose your words carefully and sit down with someone who has experience with the media, sir, and listen to them, because you're not talking to an idiot. You may believe you're talking to an idiot. You may think you're talking to an idiot, but you're not. You're not. I respect you. I won't call you an idiot. I called you a jackass last night. And to some degree, tonight as I sit here, I do believe you're a jackass. And why do I say that? Because of your constant demonstration of idiocy, of being ill-prepared. of just saying things off the cuff. And I've got a bunch of your interviews. You've got a bunch of mine. I've got a bunch of yours. And I think that in comparison, sir, well, first of all, I wouldn't compare myself to you. I wouldn't, because I wouldn't be doing the things that you've done and the things that you continue to do. So as far as malicious letter, and my name is associated with the letter, sir, you know better than that. As a friend of mine would say in New York, don't play yourself. Please don't. And then the last thing you said was that be careful of the image of objectivity when people bring these things to you, because you should look at their history. Sir, when someone brings something seemingly objective to you, you do not look at their history first, sir. You look at what they're presenting. In the FBI, we say even criminals can be sources because they have good information. So just because a person is tainted doesn't mean that that person cannot bring sound, solid information to you. So in closing, this segment on you, sir, because there are many more segments before the night is over, I would just kindly suggest to you that you think carefully when you speak about people, and that you don't say things off the cuff, because one of these days you're going to say something about someone that's going to, it could be very, very costly for you. And I don't mean in a physical way. I mean in a way that you're so embarrassed that you may have to resign your position. And if you notice, I'm not emotional about talking to you, because I regard you as a brother. You are a Jamaican. I am a Jamaican. And I care about you. And I'm just hoping that providence or good sense will permeate your cranium and get you to the point where you will do a course correction. Because, sir, you're on the wrong course.